You are listening to Claret Blue, an Aston Villa podcast brought to you by Birmingham Live.
Hello, welcome back to the Claret Blue podcast. This is episode 56, I believe. We're not live for the first time for a while, and we're back together in person. Matt, how are you?
I'm all right, yeah. 56, that's quite an innings, isn't it? That?
Yeah,
to get to 56, not out.
I can't believe people are still watching.
I know, yeah.
But we're very thankful you are. Please don't leave. The new season is upon us. Villa have played their first competitive game. They've won their first competitive game. More to come, hopefully. Unbeaten season, here we come.
Yeah, it's kind of the joyous feeling of Villa winning. We became quite used to it, didn't we, for about a week and a half at the end of last season, which feels like last week. Back in business. A little bit frustrated that, well, again, I find a negative in most things, but a little bit frustrated that Villa's Premier League season is delayed.
Yeah. I think that might be a good thing, though.
Yeah, well, I suppose in terms of recruitment, which I'm sure we'll touch upon in a bit, it could be a good thing. I just think, it's like Christmas Eve feeling, isn't it? The eve of a new season. Yeah. You're not getting it because Villa don't kick off properly until a couple of weeks after everybody else.
And Monday as well.
Yeah, and you're not getting it because we're not allowed back. So, but... Listen, who am I to start being kind of, a doom monger at a time when Jack Grealish has signed a new contract? Yes. Villa have started being active in the transfer market. The Wembley dream is on after beating Burton. So Villa, wasn't it? After what was it?
64 seconds or something. 64? I did a post on social media saying, sign Matty Cash, beat Arsenal in a friendly. Sign Ollie Watkins, beat Man United in a friendly. Jack Grealish signs a 5-year deal. Oh, Burton 1-0 up after 60 seconds. Classic Villa. But yeah, we did the job in the end, and that's all that matters, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to have a bit of classic Villa in there, haven't you? You can't get too carried away.
It's no fun anyway. There's no sense of jeopardy along the way. I could imagine people kind of laying the bed sheets out and stenciling the Smith out.
I saw your tweet. I only saw the top half of it saying Smith out, and then at the bottom it was like, only joking. I was like, oh my God. I thought for a second you were actually gone for it.
Well, yeah, you're very careful. Villa's bosses probably only saw the top half of it as well, so they'll probably be coming for me. But no, it was said in jest. I know you've got. I'm glancing over at your laptop, and you've got a kind of running order. Did you want to talk about that game first of all?
Yeah, let's go for a few things. Obviously, we're back in person, which is always nice. It's good sound quality at last. I'm such a nerd for this kind of thing. On the table, we've got a print here that is going to be a competition later in the episode. I don't know why I've left it on the table because the audience probably can't even see it. I'll hold it up for a sec. This is a competition prize that we'll be giving away later. Stay tuned for that. It's a nice print, isn't it?
It's looking good, actually. I was going to ask about it. I thought it was a gift that you bought me because I hadn't seen you for so long. But I think because I reneged on my promise of bringing you... Is it croissants? Have I pronounced that right?
I say croissants because...
Yeah, well, I'll say croissants.
Croissant, I think it is.
Yeah, because I was going to bring you them and I ran out of time and I didn't. I thought, in return, you were giving me that splendid picture, but you're not, and I'm not giving you any pastries. So, what's the deal with it then? Tell us.
We'll come to that later.
Okay.
You said to me last night when we were planning the podcast, you said, "What do I need to bring?" And I said, "I'll bring the podcast notes. You bring the pastries." Kind of as a joke, but I thought, maybe he might. And then he turns up with a carrot cake bar anyway.
Yeah, you can probably see that my moves are back from lockdown, so I'm back on the Fibre One 90-calorie. Carrot cake bar for my breakfast.
Oh, the carrot cake bars are available. So the running order of the show is, we've got a bit of a structure. We're going to talk about Burton Albion. We're going to talk a bit about Jack Grealish's new contract. Obviously, we did an episode yesterday, but that was predominantly James Rushton rabbiting on. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're also going to do our predictions for the Premier League table, including obviously where Villa will be, and a couple of other bits I've thrown in there. Top Villa goal scorer and top goal scorer in the league, but I've thrown you there a little bit. We're also going to look at Aston Villa's best 11. Their strongest lineup they can put out, and then we're going to look at the transfers, the transfer rumours, and what Villa are missing in the rest of their squad now.
Busy schedule, then.
There's also a little plug for the Fantasy Premier League and the competition. So there's a lot going on, so we'll rattle through it.
Have you factored any time for my crap jokes and my really, really forced analogies?
I just thought they'd come naturally, so you can't write them down, can you? You can't script them.
Let's see. Let's see what comes out.
Burton Albion, how do you rate that game out of 10?
I don't know, 6 I suppose. It was kind of standard, wasn't it?
First half was boring.
It was pretty boring, to be honest.
To be fair, when you were just saying earlier about the first week of the season and missing that kind of start of the season buzz, that first round of fixtures, because we didn't play, felt like the last round of pre-season for everyone. Yeah. And then this competitive fixture against Burton Albion felt like the last pre-season friendly, so not much to get excited about until the last the second half pretty much. The first half was very, very dull. But a lot of that side, well, probably 50% of that side are bench players this year, aren't they?
I thought he went quite strong though, didn't he? Really, I know there were, in areas. I know that Matty Cash didn't play and John McGinn wasn't involved, but for Grealish, who's not really had a rest.
He played for England. Because McGinn and Douglas Luiz missed out because of internationals, but then Grealish played for England for 5 minutes and did play.
It was important that he played because he clearly made the difference. But yeah, it was just a professional job in the end, wasn't it? We feared the worst after the first minute and a bit. But I thought, the players who've got the quality, who we know are going to be starters. I thought there were really some really encouraging signs of Grealish and Watkins.
Yes,
the fact that could be a partnership of sorts, albeit with Neil Taylor involved. As well,
it's no look cross.
It's just good. It's good to have a centre forward who wants to do his business in the box.
Yeah.
To be honest, and I don't think Wesley. Listen, maybe Villa now they've got that foothold in the Premier League can try and be a little bit more adventurous this season. We don't know. It's easier to be more adventurous against Burton than it is against any of the Premier League opponents. But I think knowing that Jack Grealish, knowing that if he can get to that byline and he can deliver balls in, there is actually going to be somebody who's going to be attacking that space. I think is going to be a big thing. I'm not sure Wesley ever had that kind of joy because a lot of the time he was doing his work 30 yards outside the penalty area.
And no support out wide either.
Yeah, so I thought it was good in that sense. My highlight was, I think Smith summed it up well, didn't he, about the Jack Grealish's pass for the opening goal that just absolutely bamboozled Neil Taylor. I think I tweeted last night that it was kind of, it was peak Jack Grealish and peak Neil Taylor. That ball, it just reappeared, didn't it? But Neil Taylor was like, what kind of magic is going on here?
Like when you see those freestyler videos and they're doing keep-ups and they put it under their jumper and the guy's like, where's the ball gone? And they release it. It was a bit like that. And Neil Taylor's looking for there it is.
But it was such a delightful ball.
Neil Taylor assist.
Yeah,
nice.
Exactly. I thought he
adventurous.
I thought he did okay. He's going to be no more than a squad player again. Is he Neil Taylor, likes of Henry Lansbury as well?
What happened with Matt Target? Was he on the bench? Was he injured?
You always do this, don't you? I didn't even look at the bench, to be honest, of the ones who came on.
I don't think he was.
But yeah, it was a standard performance. I thought it was nice for Keenan Davies to come on and get the goal.
Yeah. He likes scoring against Burton, doesn't he?
Yeah, like I say, it was an obligatory goal for Keenan Davies against Burton.
He was not on the bench, Matt Target.
Few. But yeah, does it need a great deal more?
Not really. I didn't want to talk about the game specifically, the 90 minutes. It's more so the players that we saw. Do you think there's any importance in that Davies came off the bench instead of Samatta? In terms of that's the one we'll be keeping around, or does it not really work like that?
I don't know. Is Dean Smith going to show his hand for the season in a very early Carabao Cup game? Me
and James said that. Well, I said to James, I wonder whether if we don't see anyone in this squad, that means they're on the verge of a move. And with all the talk of Samatta might be going to somewhere, I thought, maybe he won't even be on the bench. But he's not close to a move to Turkey or whatever. If he was in Burton Albion last night,
I don't think you can read too much into it. I think you probably read more into it when Villa kick off against Sheffield United next week about who makes Dean Smith's Premier League squad. Because there'll be a couple more additions by then. I think last night, I don't know what the B was, but that was the A. I think last night was kind of the chance for Smith to kind of be a bit experimental because he has got players at different levels of fitness and rest and recuperation. So I thought it was telling that McGinn wasn't involved. He's obviously had international duty as well, and kind of, came back at the back end of last season from a serious injury. It feels good, doesn't it? And I kind of want to embrace this positivity for a while.
Half an hour
before it comes crashing down. But I think last night was just business, job done. I found probably more interesting than the game the post-match interviews.
Go on. I saw one little clip from Dean Smith, and he was asked, what do you think of the game? And he's like, we were okay. I was like, fair enough. I think that's about it.
Very matter of fact. And there was, I can't remember which interviewer it was, sorry, or which reporter it was asking him the post-match questions for Sky, but they asked him about Martinez, and played it with the straightest ever bat. He's an Arsenal player. Kind of. Next question.
Well, I keep checking Twitter because obviously we usually do these live and can react to it. He announced on his Instagram last night, Martinez, that I'm leaving Arsenal. Thanks, Arsenal. An emotional 5-minute video. See you later, everyone. But no announcement of where's next. Obviously, Villa it's going to be Villa, isn't it? We're going to record this podcast as if he's signed. So we're going to look very stupid if he doesn't sign when we come to our best 11 later when Martinez starts for Villa. So I'll keep checking whether he's signed. As of 9:45 on Wednesday morning, he hasn't yet. But he will.
Yeah. Yes, so Dean Smith's post-match interview, like I said, everything was very played with a straight bat. And there's a couple of people kind of on Twitter last night saying, because Jack Grealish did his interview and saying, kind of, it's Villa, of course I wanted to stay. There's a bit of uncertainty. It's 50-50 at a time because there's a lot of interest. And then cut to Dean Smith a minute and a half later, Dean Smith saying, we're delighted, he's such a talisman for us, but there was no bids. Yeah. People saying, well, what's the truth? Well, and I think the truth is that I think the truth is that there can be interest without it being bids. There can be kind of, inquiries that are made through agents. There can be inquiries that are made with clubs without it actually, plugging the fax machine in and
preparing a bid
and preparing a bid that way.
I'm sure if the dossier of Man United's transfer targets had a profile of Jack Grealish this summer to look at him, and there was interest, but did they come to Villa and say, here's 50 million? No. And that's why he's still here.
I like the idea of this dossier. Do you think it's like a Panini sticker book?
See, I'm thinking,
and the ones that they want are the shinies.
See, I was thinking of it more like a police report. There's like grey, like cardboard envelope things.
So there's a really bad photo fit of Jack Grealish.
Now there's like a photo, like a Polaroid with a paperclip at the top, and then it's got like lines of his name, his age, all his stats.
Oh, I like that.
And they flick through.
I like that for a content idea in future. I do like that. James Russian's doing these kind of bespoke newsletters now. Yeah. That's quite a nice style.
Yeah, the transfer dossier. Yeah, maybe that'll be this afternoon's transfer segment.
Why these evolve into planning meetings? I'm sure I like it more than the listeners and the viewers. But
and me, who has to do the actual work. Talking to Jack Grealish, saying that this contract, obviously, like I said, we spoke about it in yesterday's episode or 2 days episode whenever this comes out, and we're obviously delighted with it. What is the project that Purslow, Sawiris, Edens, Dean Smith, what have they sold Jack Grealish to sign this deal?
Probably made him the richest man in Birmingham. I'd have thought. I think that would be the opening gambit. It's 5 years, and everybody's like delighted it's 5 years. It's actually he was already signed up for 3 anyway. Yeah. So it's a 2-year bolt on that. But 5 years, the kind of possibilities are endless, aren't they? Yeah. And I don't want to get kind of carried away.
Is this you selling Jack Grealish again already?
No. The opposite, in the actual opposite. In fact, I don't want to be the Tony Jaa kind of will be bigger than Barcelona. In 5 years, but
be nice.
These owners are probably thinking that Villa should be challenging for Europe in 5 years. Now, challenging for Europe and challenging for the top, that top 4 places to get into the Champions League are two very different things, as kind of Wolves fans will probably tell you in recent years, but. I think they would have said that. They've said, you want to play in the Champions League. We want to play in the Champions League. Let's make an appointment 2025. And see what happens. Now, Christ, Aston Villa to think...
In the Champions League.
Yeah. To me, that's probably more of a kind of 5-decade project rather than a 5-year project. But they've got the financial clout to back it up. Haven't they?
Yeah.
They smashed the record transfer again to bring in a new striker. These suggestions that, like we said, is a new goalie coming in because Tom Heaton's not going to be fit enough to get involved just yet. We know that they need to strengthen in terms of a centre forward, which they've done. We know that they need to strengthen in terms of attacking width, which it looks like they're going to do with Traore.
Not Adama.
Not Adama, no. But you actually, I'm sure they've kind of said, look at the signings that we're making. We don't want to just escape relegation on the last day of the season. Yeah. We want to be, and this will dovetail, or this will segue neatly into our predicted league tables in a bit. Yeah. But we want to be in that next pack at least this season.
Yeah.
And then who knows, nostalgic me again.
I feel like we need to make these segments black and white when you talk about history.
That's it. But the world's changed, but O'Neill kind of got Villa to leap from 15th to 16th to 11th to 6th, didn't he? Yeah. Big rich owners, and we know the landscape's a little bit trickier than that now, because there's probably 7 clubs who can realistically compete for the top 4, rather than back then when there were probably 5.
Yeah.
So I think it's that. I think
Villa still didn't make it.
Yeah, well, no, but I think it's that, isn't it? What can they promise him?
Well, yeah, because
can't say we're going to build it. Well, they probably could. We're going to build a statue outside the ground. We're going to.
Nice.
Just.
You can't make any promises in football, can you? Because things change so quickly anyway. You can't just say, "Oh, well, we'll be in Europe in 3 years," because you can't. You can't do that.
I was telling you, wasn't I, that when Jack's volleyed in that, what we thought was going to be the winner. Obviously, Keena Davis has added another one, but when he volleyed that in last night, I texted his dad saying, "Sign him up," and he messaged me back saying, "Average player." There's no danger.
Bring him back down to his roots.
People accuse Jack Grealish of being a big time and a bit arrogant and stuff, but the family setup that he's got there, he's still kind of our Jack, and he's still kind of got to know his place kind of thing, which I think is brilliant. Yeah. I think it's really, really good influence for him.
I think he's his own worst critic anyway. He knows if he hasn't had a bad game, he's hurt. I've heard him say multiple times about previous seasons, it took me 7-8 games to get going. I've not been good enough here, I haven't scored enough goals. He knows that he needs to contribute more at times, and 1 game, 1 goal. Yeah. Good start.
What impressed me as well, obviously, he was magic on the pitch again. The way
he's very good. I know it's Burton Albion, but he was very good.
He could just extricate himself through the tightest of spaces. That one run that he got to the byline, and I think it was the one he squared that Watkins hit the bar, wasn't he? You think, there's not even space to get there, certainly not at that speed. But his interview impressed me because I thought he was honest and I thought he was eloquent, and even things like, he said, the interview asked him about Ollie Watkins, and he said, now I know you'd expect me to say this because this is what people say anyway, but genuinely Ollie Watkins has been like a breath of fresh air, his personality, and it was just kind of almost the acknowledgement that he knows that people would accuse football of speaking in cliches, but he's trying to be as genuine and as honest and as open as he possibly could. And I think to the wider world, he's probably still seen as this preening kind of, super quiffed kind of easy tumbling little shin pad. I don't know, whatever people want to think of him.
Diving, but
he's actually a very measured kind of. He's a captain. He's a good bloke, And I'm not excusing some of the misdemeanours that he's done in the past. I'm genuinely not. But I think we want him to be synonymous with what Aston Villa are about, because a fella I know, another Hales Owen lad, Alex Davis, big Villa fan, he tweeted last night about Jack Grealish how. And it's a bit cliche, but he's living the dreams of all of us. Of all of us. We want to be that person, don't we? I just want his hair, even if I didn't get the football ability. But, so, add this to, of those 56 episodes that we've done, add this to the other 53 Jack Grealish eulogies, I think.
There's nothing else to say, is there, really?
Well, there will be. We'll get some more mileage out of it in the future. But, he's ours. So, bugger off, everybody else is here to stay.
We'll go through our predicted Premier League table then. You see these everywhere on podcasts and YouTube videos. People do the whole league table. We're going to do the same, but we're not going to go into depth of all the other sides, because don't care really. I'm doing this so we can look back on it and laugh basically at our stupid predictions at the end of the season. So we're going to break down the Premier League tables as we see it on the screen here. Yours is on the right, mine's on the left. We'll start with the top 4. You go first.
I think Liverpool, having waited 30 years to win the title, I think they're coming at... Well, I suppose the pressure was on them anyway, because they were so good the year before they won the title that if they hadn't have maintained that, then it would have been, there'd been questions asked. But I just think Man City will just kind of find a way to revert back to kind of, becoming a machine.
We're looking at both of our tables side by side. We've got the exact same top 4 in regards of teams. We've just got 2 positions different. I think Liverpool will win the title again for the second time. I think it'll be a lot tighter between Liverpool and Man City than it was last year, just because last year was silly with how far away Liverpool won it by. yeah, I know they always say it's a difficult task to retain the title more so than it is to win it for one season. But yeah, I think Liverpool will do it again. And then after that, Man City second for me, Liverpool second for you. And then we've both got Man United third and Chelsea fourth.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, this is an Aston Villa podcast, so let's get Aston Villa properly involved. Let's talk about the proper push for Champions League.
Bottom three. Let's go straight to that first because we've got similar for two of the three.
Yeah.
We've both got Fulham finishing bottom.
Yeah.
I was almost tempted to put West Brom bottom, but I thought I didn't want to be too anti.
No, I think Fulham are going to do a Fulham, to be honest.
I agree. I've got West Ham 19th and West Brom 18th. I think either.
Are West Ham really that bad?
Yes.
Are they?
You've got West Ham 12th.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, are they that bad? Or has this been blown up about the kind of...
I think the club is just too much of a mess.
Yeah.
And that catches up with you eventually when the players aren't buying into the cause.
Don't you think Moyes will find a way, though?
I think if West Ham escape relegation, it'll be 17th or 16th, not almost mid-table that you've got them.
Yeah, perhaps some, but I don't. Like I said, I think that the place is in disarray, but I still think they've got a decent squad of players to compete.
Yeah,
it's not great when your captain is kind of coming out and digging out the business the club's doing. I get that, but again, I'm not massively arsed where West Ham finish as long as they don't stay up at the expense of Aston Villa. I'm not really great for this segment, mate. I've done this.
I know you've ruined my whole segment here. I thought we were going to go not in depth, but I thought you'd be a bit more interested.
Yeah, I don't really give a crap about West Ham.
Okay, should we talk about the team that I've highlighted in yellow?
Sorry if anybody has come to this Claret Blue podcast thinking it was a West Ham podcast. Either way.
To be fair, your optimism for West Ham is probably quite welcome to most West Ham fans, so they're always welcome.
Forever blown bubble.
We'll talk about the team I've highlighted in yellow, Aston Villa. I've gone 15th, you've gone 14th.
That's got to be the aim, hasn't it? They've got to win an extra 2 games.
Yeah, it's not many.
And ideally win them before August or whenever.
Hopefully before.
Whenever the season finished. So, I think I probably predicted the same for Villa last year. I just think, we've spoke about Grealish. Keeping Grealish is a massive deal. If we can have a centre forward who contributes, let's say, 12 to 15 goals, rather than, I think the 6. I know Wesley did that in half a season, so I don't think it can be too harsh on him. But, Villa's strike force probably contributed about 8 or 9 Premier League goals between them last season. So you've got Grealish staying, you've got a striker who can score goals. We're hoping that they're going to address the situation down the flank. So let's hope Bertrand Traore can have an impact there. It's the defence again, isn't it? You just, we think hopefully Tyrone Mings and Konsa, and obviously Matty Cash has arrived. It looks like Matt Targett will be first choice at left back again. Hopefully those guys, or the bulk of them who played last season, will have a year's more experience in the bank. Hopefully they'll shut out the opposition longer than 63 seconds. So all the ingredients are there for them to add those extra couple of wins that would propel them from 17th into 15th or 14th.
Oh, steady on, propelling us to 15th.
Nosebleed territory,
I know, I've kind of put us there. I think you can, I know obviously numerically you can't divide the league into 3 segments of 6, but you kind of can. You got the big top 6, the middle chunk of rubbish 6, and then the rubbish bits at the bottom 6. I've got us as the best of those 6 at the bottom, clear of the bottom 3, clear of 17th and 16th, and then Villa. And then I think anything between 15th and 12th, anywhere there would be a successful season for this year for Villa, and hopefully a half decent cup run.
I think so. I'd rather have something that's a fully decent cup run. To be honest,
win a trophy would be lovely.
It would be lovely.
Although we won't even get to go, would we? Probably. Still, maybe not. Hopefully, but maybe not. Imagine winning the FA Cup and you can't even go. Yeah,
I'm trying to sort out the data code registrations for our press passes at the moment, so I'll ask that question.
Yeah, just in case.
If Villa get to a cup final again, can we have 45,000 press passes on behalf of Birmingham Live and Claret Blue?
Well, we're looking to get a couple. Never mind 45,000.
We want to see some signs of progress, but I think staying up is stating the obvious, isn't it? But staying up is so important because you get 100 and whatever £1 million again, and maybe you're strengthening 2 positions next summer, and it just keeps going and keeps going. But Villa finishing well clear of relegation, and get into another cup final.
Being safe well in advance of the end of the season, a boring end to the season where you're not having to look over your shoulder. That's all I want.
I suppose it's looking at the cluster of clubs around them, really.
I mean,
isn't it?
you look at those, and I think the ones I've put above Villa: Palace, Newcastle, Sheffield United, Burnley, Southampton. I think you can interchange any of those.
Depends which way the wind's blowing, doesn't it? You know, are Burnley really much better than Aston Villa, or than having a little bit more Premier League now? So the last couple of years,
I put Burnley 11th. Like, is there anything to stop Villa getting 11th and Burnley finishing 15th? Not really.
Stating the obvious again, it's been clinical in both boxes.
Yeah,
conceded too many goals and didn't pose as much of a threat as they should in terms of the strike force. I know Villa's goal getting wasn't actually that bad compared. I think they outscored 6 or 7 teams last season. But it's those fine lines, and that's where it becomes that bit of experience. And Aston Villa, as well as signing quality and adding quality to the ranks this season, need to be a lot more streetwise than they were last season. How many, I don't want to harp back, but how many leads were squandered, how many points were thrown away. If Villa can get themselves in front in games, they've got to find a way to see the games out, really.
Villa's top goal scorer, I would assume we're both going to say Watkins for that, unless we sign. It's interesting with Watkins, because obviously everyone's talking about he can play wide. He'll only play out wide on the right if we sign another striker for 40-odd million who comes in as the number 9. Surely Watkins has come in to be the striker, and we're not going to see him out wide because we'll sign a winger instead.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because you still want to see if there's a way that Grealish can play as a 10, but I don't know whether there is. I don't know whether there is.
Well, you'd have to sign 2 wingers, wouldn't you, for that to happen? One to play on the left and one to play on the right. Because I don't think you want to start El Garza.
I don't think he'd go with a 4-2-3-1 anyway, would he? Or a
Well, there's not really much difference between a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3, is there really? It's just pushing one of the central midfielders further forward.
Leave the tactics to the experts. What was the question? Ollie Watkins.
How many goals?
I think he'll be the Villa's top scorer. Let's set him a challenge. Let's set him a challenge to score 15 Premier League goals.
Yeah, I'd say 15 as well. Some colleagues that we work with, notably Wolves and Blues, say 15 is a silly target, but who cares what I think?
Yeah, well, I don't know what Jimenez got last year. I know Villa aren't quite a Wolves at the moment, and Ollie Watkins is not quite Raul Jimenez, but
Jimenez got 17.
Yes, I don't think it's unrealistic.
Tammy Abraham got 15.
Yeah, I mean, he was playing for Chelsea, although he's in and out a bit.
Chris Wood for Burnley got 14.
Harry Kane, if Gareth Bale's flying down the flank, it might be Harry Kane gets back to the top of the scoring charts. But 15.
Yeah, 15. I'll take that. I'll definitely take it. Let's talk about our best Aston Villa 11 then. Our strongest lineup. I said earlier during the episode, Emi Martinez hadn't signed in the little.
So it's going to be, it'd probably be spinking goal, wouldn't it?
Before my time. In the little break that we had to change the cameras, I checked my phone and Emi Martinez has now signed for Villa, holding the shirt.
Do you want to check again? There might have been another flurry of another 5 signs.
Well, you joke, but it is a genuine possibility that we've made more announcements. We haven't. Still only Martinez.
I look forward. Well, I look forward to seeing that picture of him holding his shirt.
There he is. Yeah. Villa say in their statement, Aston Villa is delighted to announce the signing of Emiliano Martinez from Arsenal.
I don't like the singular.
Well, Aston Villa is in that.
Yeah, I know it's a company.
I always wonder. I always think it should be Aston Villa are delighted.
Strictly, it's actually correct. Strictly.
Oh, is it?
Grammatically, because it's a single entity, isn't it? It's a company, it's a business, it's a football club.
But it's a community, it's a collective. We are delighted. Yeah. Anyway, Dean Smith says, we are really pleased with the signing of our new goalkeeper. We know how highly Arsenal rated him and we watched his outstanding performances last season in a trophy-winning side. We moved for Emi when we saw the opportunity, as it is rare to be able to buy a top-class goalkeeper who hasn't yet reached their peak age and who can therefore be a key player for our club for the long term.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that club's capped up with a capital C.
Why?
It's just...
Club, it's a thing.
Yeah, but it's like
a noun. Oh, you're boring, mate.
Sorry, what are we talking about here?
So let me get this straight. On a football podcast, you don't want to talk about predictions and tactics and signings.
I don't know anything about
You want
football.
to talk about grammar and punctuation?
I don't know anything about grammar and punctuation either. Right, he's signed. It's a done deal.
Yes, he's 28. I thought he was older than that.
Check's book of cliches. Good age for a goalkeeper. Yeah, he is a good age for a goalkeeper.
It's a great age for a goalkeeper. It's weird because everyone's raving about him. Arsenal are gutted to have lost him. He's only played like I don't know the numbers, but he's only played like 20 games last year, and he was good, and he's a good player, and I'm delighted that we've got him. I think he's a step up on Tom Heaton. Already forgotten his name. Tom Heaton, boring, forget about him. He comes in as number one straight away. Like I said, he's like Dean Smith says, that he's a top-class player, but they're talking about him as if he's been there. I know he's been there a long time, but he's barely played for him.
It's kind of what I term as a Richard Wright or as a Stuart Taylor, the goalkeepers, kind of always the bridesmaid, never the bride kind of thing. Good on him, because he could have stayed at Arsenal and picked up a trophy here and there and stuff like that, but he wanted to come and be the number one. And he's not... Listen, obviously will be a shoe-in from day one because Tom Heaton's not ready yet, but that's quite a battle for goalkeepers, because when Tom Heaton is fit, if this bloke kind of fumbles across, do you know what I mean, or does a Pepe Reina down the right touchline or whatever it is, this real competition breathing down his neck. And I kind of feel a little bit for Tom Heaton. This shows that Villa aren't messing about. Because they probably could have brought somebody in on loan, or they could have thought, okay, we'll go with Neuland, or we'll go with Jed Steer, but they haven't. They've thought, no.
That's what we said, didn't we? When we were linked with the goalkeepers, do we need one? Yeah. We'll be fine with Steer.
Sentiment for Tom Heaton, though, wasn't it? Really,
we'll be fine for 6 weeks.
Villa would know better than us the exact kind of return time for Tom Heaton, and think, well, that could be 2 months into the season. Yeah.
Faffing around with Jed Steer could have cost us the season by that point.
Like, if Neuland's done a Sheffield United, or he's done... Who was the one against Wolves when he's balled it out to whoever it was? So I think it's a shrewd move. And I think it works well for both parties, because it shows that Villa, like I said, mean business and are not taking any chances. And it shows that this guy is super ambitious, and he wants to be involved every week. And just looking at him in his new kazoo.
I feel like I know what you're going to say here, but go on. Go on, what?
The AF kazoo. It blows my mind every time I see it. It looks like a car.
It's a car, yeah.
It's brilliant.
You didn't say what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say the silly thing that you said about Tom Heaton ages ago about him being a manly man goalkeeper. Because looking at this specific picture, he's got his arms folded, big muscles out.
Like a kind of bouncer.
Yeah.
If your name's not down football, you're not coming into my goal.
I don't know what his height is, but he looks that big presence, commanding goalkeeper that again, cliche book, ticks a lot of boxes. That's what you want for a goalkeeper.
I'm not daunted by big goalkeepers like that, because if I'm taking a penalty, I still glance bottom right and then just side footed bottom left. Damn, I've given the game away now. But he looks like a beast of a man, and he comes with
a nice manly man. I think he's called Jed Steer. What's his name?
Heaton.
Tom Heaton. Tom Heaton's got injured, and I forgot all about him. A proper manly man.
He's a real manly man.
He's 6'5", according to Wikipedia.
Blimey.
Looking at his senior career, 15 appearances for Arsenal.
I could have done with him today, because I'm trying to change one of them strobe lights in my bathroom.
Couldn't reach.
Well, I could reach it because I got on a ladder, but it's just not working. I bought a new starter motor, and I bought the new strobe, whatever, tube, and it ain't working.
God, disgusting.
I'm having to do my hair in the dark at the moment.
Back to football. Lots of loan moves for him. Oxford United, Sheffield Wednesday, Rotherham, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Getafe, and then Reading. So Villa are the biggest the biggest club on his...
Sounds like a broken sat-nav, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's some strange moves. But just...
Arsenal fans love him though, don't they?
Yeah, they love him. Leno got injured, and then he came in, performed very well, won the FA Cup, and then they're going, you know what, this guy could probably be our number one next season. Leno's got to come back in and fight for his place, and then... To be fair, 20 million for a player that's played half a good season for you is a good deal for Arsenal. But for Villa, he comes in and becomes our number one, fights for his place. Improves our squad in terms of fighting for a place for goalkeeper. You've got two good goalkeepers going for it.
And Tom Heaton goes and warms the bench at Arsenal.
I saw somewhere about his wages being like Arsenal had offered him like 30,000 or something. So even if Villa say here's double your money, 60 grand is cheap, isn't it? Really now.
How's he going to live on that though?
Poor Emi Martinez. Aston Villa best 11. Now, we've got a couple of more signings to make. Where's my document? Before the end of the transfer window. And I would imagine those will come in and play in the first team. Stalker Traore, who was at Chelsea. I totally forgot he was at Chelsea. He got shipped out in their loan army to Vitesse. He's at Lyon now. I think he went to Ajax as well. And then looks like he's coming to Villa. I think he's a right winger.
Like I said earlier, looks like he's got a decent CV.
How much have you watched of him?
Well, like I said, my knowledge of Burkina Faso internationals is second to none, really. Not a great deal, I must admit.
That's fine.
He kind of, like you said, had a very brief spell at Chelsea, but kind of was a fringe player, and barely involved, and then got sent out on loan. This sounds really, really harsh on El Ghazi and Trezeguet, but I think he's got to be an upgrade on those guys, because I think they kind of flitted in and out.
El Ghazi wasn't brilliant against League One Burton Albion last night, so
no. But this is what we wanted to do, didn't we? We get a foothold in the Premier League and then kind of make several of the starters who weren't quite up to it the backup players, and get them breathing down the necks of the new starters. And Villa need to be better. Need to be better in those areas, because we've got Ollie Watkins now who can carry that threat, as a proper centre forward if he's chosen to play that way. But Jack Grealish is gifted enough player that even now that all the Premier League has wised up to him and will double up on him, he will still find a way. Yeah. But there can't be the same onus on Jack Grealish to lead that team.
I don't think there will be, because I think we'll be a better team overall this year.
So I think it's important that Villa do pack a punch down the flanks, and we'll see. I remember the last time we signed a promising winger called Traore. What became of him? He didn't go on to do anything, did he, really?
We'll go through this 11 then, because I'm wary of getting wrapped up, because we've got a lot of Twitter questions, and I do want to get to those as well. So, best 11, goalkeeper, Martinez comes in as number 1.
Yes.
When Tom Heaton comes back, we'll have to wait and see, but I would imagine Martinez will keep his shirt. Matty Cash, right back.
Yep.
Centre halves, there's only 2, isn't there? Mings, Konsa.
Yeah, I wouldn't write off Engels.
Engels is a weird one.
Forevermore.
To me.
But
because I remember the Mingles partnership and think, there's a decent player in there. Yeah. And then other times I think, he's a bit of a disaster, Engels.
But again, it's having that competition, isn't it?
Yeah, so, I'm not saying to get rid of him, because you've got 4 centre-backs at the club, and that's what you need. And
those would be a starting 2.
But they start.
You've got Matt Targett as left back.
Yeah, that back 5 picks itself, doesn't it? Midfield, we're saying a 4-3-3.
We're going 4-3-3 then.
Two go straight in there as Douglas Luiz and John McGinn. The third choice is either whether you bring Jack Grealish back centrally or you stick him out wide. And if you stick him out wide, who plays midfield? Is it a new man?
The third choice for me is new midfielder.
New midfielder, man.
Yeah. I don't know who it is, but I do think that's an area where room to strengthen.
If we didn't sign a new midfielder and Jack Grealish plays on the left, would you be happy with Conor Hourihane starting Premier League games?
I think he's the one who gets who has the edge, because I think he's just justified it. He's just like, do you remember those kind of, I think they're called wee balls? They're like little egg-shaped toys, plastic toys, like with faces on them, and you push them over and they keep coming back up again.
I've never seen one of those in my life.
So it's like that. Conor Hourihane's like that. Whenever you write him off and push him down, he comes back up again.
Okay, yeah.
And I think he's kind of, like I say, I've been a harsh critic of him in the past, of him not being quite as consistent, but he played such an important part. I think he got most of the assists, didn't he, in the back end of the season during the revival. So I think he gets the edge over. I mean, who else is in there? Lansbury, Nakamba.
It won't be either of
those. So he gets the edge over those, because you've got Louise who can be your protection blanket. You've got McGinn who can be your legs. Conor Hourihane has to be your kind of, I don't know, your creative influence from the centre of the park then.
See, I'm thinking that should be Jack Grealish, though, as pushed further forward out of those 3. Because we've not been linked to many midfielders. Now I'm thinking about it, we've been linked to a few wingers, which would suggest that if we sign more
so you
than
play
one winger,
McGinn and Louise sitting
as a 2 kind of thing, and Jack has a bit more freedom of the
So you do go for a 4-2-3-1 in effect.
Pretty much. Then you sign 2 new wingers. Yeah. Which one will be Traore as a right winger, I think. You got Watkins, number 9, and then you've got a new left winger, which Rashid.
So you say the recruitment is a new winger rather than,
I think so.
2 new wingers rather than 1 new winger and a new centre mid.
I don't know who that centre mid is. Yeah. I think if you're adding quality to this side,
you just want Ben Rama, don't you? That's what you're angling for.
I would love it, but I don't think it'll happen. But I think it's easier.
Well, crikey, if they've got 33 million for Watkins, they've probably got 55 for Ben Rama.
I think it's probably easier, and this is probably a lazy analysis, to find a winger for 20 million that is better than what we've got than it is to find a midfielder for 20 million that's better than what we've got. We've not heard many midfield names is the only thing that's throwing me there.
Yeah, but as Dean Smith said in his interview last night, this transfer business is happening, but only people within the club really know what's happening.
As it should be.
Yeah.
So, in your best 11 then, you've got Grealish playing left wing.
As it stands at the moment, without new recruitment, so without anybody signing in the next 5 minutes during the recording of the podcast, you've got Hourihane as your third midfielder, and you've got Grealish on the left, Bertrand on the right, and Watkins down the middle.
Bertrand Traore right there, just not to confuse him with Ryan Bertrand. I don't know. I'd rather see Grealish back in the centre. There's nothing wrong with him out wide, obviously, but I think, like I say, if you sign Traore and Rashica, they players, that's a whole new front three then, which is what we're after. And Grealish can go back central, which would be lovely. That'd be a massive improvement over Trezeguet, Wesley, El Ghazi. Yeah. Talking of transfers, obviously Martinez is done now. Traore has had his medical apparently, and I'd assume he's the next one through the door. When you look at that side, what's next? That midfielder. Do we need a midfielder, even regardless if Jack is the one that plays centrally as a backup? Because if you're looking at Hourihane, and Nakamba, do we need a third one anyway?
They'd try and get Lansbury out the door, wouldn't you? I know it's easier said than done, but he's not really going to. I know he started last night. He's not going to disrupt to the midfield to get a look in. And, you want even players on the bench. You want them to prove that they're good enough to start games. Yeah,
we were linked with McCarthy, weren't we, from Palace right at the start of the window, and we thought, that's a decent squad signing.
I think there's space for another midfielder regardless. I'm still, if I'm being really, really hypercritical, I'd still like some more cover at left back. Now, you could say that this Courtney Hawes, who could fill in there, I don't think Dean Smith particularly wants him to fill in there. You're probably talking about a midfield and perhaps more cover left defence.
So, I asked the questions this morning, and we're going to rattle through as many as we can. If we've covered them already, we'll just gloss over them. Dom Phillips says, is there space for Anwar El Ghazi next season with Traore and Rashica coming in, potentially? You'd think two wingers would leave as well. Also got Jota in there and Trezeguet. Does one of those have to leave if we sign two?
Potentially, but you'd think that Jota would... Is it Jota or Jota? It's been a while since I've said it.
I say Jota. It's not Jota. What was the other option? Jota or Jota?
Jota.
I think it's Jota, but I always say Jota. Doesn't sound like a name now we've said it so much.
The little Spanish fella who used to play for Brentford and Blues. I think, would he not be the one that would make way? Rather than El Ghazi or Trezeguet?
Unless you get one of those wild card transfers come in that Trezeguet goes to Turkey or whatever, those classic transfers that you said.
I wouldn't want to write any of them off forevermore, but like I say, how many of them can you carry?
If you sign two wingers and Jack can play wide as well, you don't need 6 potential wide options.
No.
So one of them ideally would go, and I think that would be Jota, if you can get rid of him.
Yeah,
he's probably on the lowest wage as well, I would assume. Jacob says, do we really need Emi Martinez? Well, we've got him now, so deal with it when we have Heaton.
Sorry about that, Jacob. That's terribly rude of him.
Yeah, I think he's only a kid as well. Sorry, Jacob. When we have Heaton on the way back and Jed Steer playing well, yes. At first, I thought, no, we don't need a goalkeeper, but I've changed my mind that Villa need to be ruthless.
Yeah, I think they can't afford, if there are points up for grabs before Tom Heaton is available, Villa need to make sure that they're doing absolute damage to get them. And
I also had an Arsenal fan tweet me saying that this was when it was before it was announced, saying that you've just bought yourself 7 to 9 extra points with Martinez.
All right. So, I didn't know that was part of the deal, but that's...
Can you imagine if it was like that? Yeah, he's a guaranteed 10 points. There you go. That'd be nice.
Yeah, like I said, I've got a soft spot for Tom Heaton. But
to be fair, all the goalkeepers, I feel sorry for Jed Steer and all this, that he's a good keeper but never really gets his chance. But that's just football,
nice problems to have, aren't they?
Yeah. Tom Banner says, how are you both? Or are you both looking for questions about football? Don't care.
I'm all right. I'm a bit hungry. I want me carrot cake bar, but yeah, I'm all right. The sun's shining. It's unseasonally warm at the moment, isn't it?
It's unseasonally warm for a training jumper as well that I've committed to now, but quite warm.
No, we're good. Thanks for asking, Tom. How's you and the family? All good? Yeah.
Let's see if he replies. Tom Hanks Pants has asked, have we got collective amnesia about our defence pre-lockdown?
Got bogged down by his Twitter handle there. I have got amnesia about it. What about how it was
how it was bad, I guess, and that we still got pretty much the same defence.
Oh, pre-lockdown.
Will it be bad again? But then it's almost like, why focus on pre-lockdown as being bad and not focus on post-lockdown that's more recent when we were better?
Yeah, it's like analogy time. It's like
ding ding.
Kind of, why would I worry about how ugly my face looked before I had plastic surgery? Because since I haven't, genuinely. I know you're thinking, Matt, you look stunning, but you don't worry about the problem that was, if there's been efforts to fix the problem.
Yeah.
And post-lockdown showed that there was efforts to fix the problem.
You would imagine we'll be more like post-lockdown Villa than pre-lockdown Villa.
Yeah, you would hope.
And we've got a new right back and a new goalkeeper. So in theory, should be better again. JD says, we had one of the worst defensive records in the Premier League last season. Are you concerned that we are not linked with any new centre-backs? Again, is it a priority? I think if you sign a centre-back, they have to come in as a starter. There's no point improving Engels and Hawes,
It's hard, isn't it? Because you want to improve, but can you write off every single player after a year?
I think Konsa and Mings is a good enough a good enough Premier League centre-back pairing to be in that bottom 12. And then if you sign a new centre-back that's going to come in and start again, what are you looking at? 20, 25 million for a centre-back?
Yeah.
Is that a priority this window?
And you've got 2 or 3 centre halves then who are on, probably not on massive contracts, but are contracted for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. I think if you were going to spend 20 odd million on a new defender, it'd be a left back.
I think it's, we've spoken when Craig Shakespeare got the gig. It's coaching what you've got to a degree as
true.
well. You can't be checkbook solutions to everything.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're signing 11 players every summer again.
Flip Flop, great name, says, who's got better hair, Jack Grealish, Matty Cash, or Henry Lansbury?
I'm not qualified to talk about this, am I?
I think Grealish out of those. I don't rate Lansbury's now with the high ponytail, long. Not a fan of that.
I mean, I reckon your hairline is creeping. But if you were to go to
it definitely is,
to Neil's, my barber in Blackheath,
who,
by the way, those visors that they wear, I feel like there's a kind of world full of security corps men. There's a woman. I was walking down Blackheath High Street the other day, and this woman come past me on a scooter, like a mobility scooter. She got this kind of visor on. I thought, Jesus, if she's coming to collect the takings from bloody Barclays Bank or whatever, you need to sort out your security. I
wonder how many other Villa podcasts get a reference to Blackheath High Street in there.
Telling you, keeping it real. If you were going to whichever barbers that you go to, who would you be more inclined to say, give me a Grealish, give me a Matty Cash?
See, I couldn't pull off the slick back because of the size of the forehead, so I wouldn't be going for any of those.
None of them.
Next question. This is one for you. I don't know why this has been asked. This is a strange one. This guy asked a couple of questions. I think he was just kind of milking it. Yeah. He says, which Mark Bosnich penalty save was the best? I can't separate his one at Deportivo or his one at Highbury versus Ian Wright. Before my time, this.
I can't even remember either of them. The Bosnich penalty saves for me are the ones in the semi-final against Tranmere.
Oh, yeah. I do. I don't remember those, but I know of them.
I forgot to run on the pitch.
Did you? Oh, naughty.
I'm going to put a little bit of knock on my door, mate.
James Slattery asks, would you say Grealish signing his 5-year contract will help persuade or convince players of the likes of Rashica to sign for us?
I think it will help. I mean, one of the things that this is prompting me to say is I don't buy into all this stuff. Oh, Dean Smith can't attract players because he's not a big enough name manager and all. I don't think.
What does that even mean?
Well, exactly. Do people get starstruck thinking, I want to work with, I don't know,
Marcelo Bielsa is the one at the moment.
Yeah, I just think
the Leeds.
I'm not sure that's people's first consideration. It's probably how much dosh you're going to give me. What's the area like where I live?
Am I going to play every week?
Do I get to play football?
Yeah.
And am I likely to stay in the Premier League next year to pick up my Premier League money? Am I likely to get a Champions League bonus? Am I going to get a trophy? But I don't think,
Well, because Emiliano Martinez, let's just call him Emi, it's much easier. Emi Martinez has just left Mikel Arteta, FA Cup winners Arsenal, to come to play for 17th place Aston Villa. Yeah. It doesn't matter what the manager is, does it really?
So, but in answer to the question, I think it's a statement from Villa that they can keep one of the... I might be biased now if I say that Jack Grealish is one of the best 15 players in the Premier League.
Oh, that's a good question. What, overall?
Yeah.
Oh, that is a good question. I'd be interested to see what people think of that.
People could probably name me 15 at the drop of the hat, because we're talking about positions all across the team, and so they'll probably pick me top 5 goalkeepers, the top 5 left backs, and
when we looked at the Premier League top goal scorers, there's probably 10 or 12 right there that are
but it's okay in his position.
In his position,
clearly is. So if Villa, it's a statement that Villa can keep him. Villa, a team who finished 17th. And I know Dean Smith said there's no bids made and we don't know what level of interest there was, but I think that is a statement that if people are thinking, shall I join Villa, they think, well, it's good enough for Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish got an emotional ties with the club anyway. But I think listen, I don't think it'd be people's casting votes, but I think it would make them think, this is a team that wants to do things. They don't just want to survive year on year. So I think it could have a slight edge.
Well, because as much as this transfer window is exciting, I don't know what the total is now, 60 odd million, is it? Martinez, Cash and Watkins. There's going to be at least one winger come in, maybe a midfielder, maybe a defender. You're looking at close to, if not 100 million spent. That transfer window would be tainted if Jack Grealish had left as well. The fact that he stays as well is the biggest signing of them all.
Well, of course, it should have a big Jack Grealish shaped hole. Not just in the team, but in the football club. Another
question from the same guy. He says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how pretty is Jack Grealish? Would you agree prettier than most women?
But he's pretty.
He's a good-looking chap, isn't he?
I don't judge people like that. I don't judge people on pieces of meat.
That's nice. What's his personality like out of 10?
I think he's an 8 or 9. I think he could be a charming fella.
If our female audience are probably
listen, he's the kind of bloke that you'd be proud to bring home to your mum. I mean, my mum probably,
especially when he's 140 grand a week.
I mean, if I did, my mum would probably think it a bit strange, and my wife and my kids would. But no. What's the next question?
I love stupid things like this. Villain's Opinion says, your feelings on the number 8 shirt being wasted on Lansbury again. Do you care about squad numbers? And I would assume if Lansbury leaves, someone else will take that shirt.
I quite like the number 8 shirt.
It is good, isn't it? It's one of my favourites.
And I think there was... I was getting in... Well, I was spying on a Twitter conversation with some Villa fans of similar vintage to me, saying, we're all kind of... I say young dads. We've all got young kids. And, like, they're saying, when did it become kind of CDM?
Someone's asked that.
And CDM and CAM and all that kind of stuff. When to us it was you were number 6 or you were number 8, and it's like number 10 seems to have stayed, and almost been kind of reinvented.
That's an attractive position. That's
as a traditionalist, 1 to 11 should be your best.
So you're a big fan of Mings and Engels changing the numbers.
Players.
Mings and Konsa from 15 and 40.
I think
to
if they're starting
45.
11. And we know they're not going to be starting 11 throughout the season because there's going to be form and fitness and suspensions and all that kind of stuff. But I agree that your first choice players should have those jerseys. So
Crombie asks, this is kind of a follow-up, said, what's this newfound obsession the football have with referring to positions as numbers? So not a newfound one, you're saying it's a traditional one. Villa are now looking for a number 8. What is a number 8? Is that a new Gary Shaw or a new Henry Lansbury?
It's not a new Henry Lansbury, is it? And it's not a new Gary Shaw. It's probably, if such a thing exists...
An 8's a box-to-box midfielder,
I think it's a David Platt. I know Draper used to wear it. I can't even remember if Platt did wear it. I think he did. It's that energetic midfielder. Ian Taylor should have worn an 8. Really.
John McGinn's an 8, isn't
he? Yeah, he is. Yeah,
even though he's a number 7.
It's very confusing, I prefer referring to people by numbers than I do to like FIFA abbreviations.
CDM.
Because I'm an old man.
Yeah. You are an old man.
I am an old man.
A few people have asked about Jack central or out wide, but obviously we've talked about it. Another question says, this is from the same guy, his Twitter at is Grindgrod. He says, would it be weird to get a JG and a heart tattooed on my bum cheek? Bearing in mind it's also my initials. It would be weird, I think.
I don't think a bum cheek's a bum cheek, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's discreet. It's only going to be the tattooist and your loved ones who see that, unless you're a kind of perennial mooner
or a streaker
goes around showing your ass to the world. I'd do it if that's what you want. Do it.
Okay. Would you have a JG tattooed on your bum?
I wouldn't have a tattoo. I've got my nipple pierced. Did you know that?
Have you?
Yeah.
Why?
I didn't done when I was a kid. Have you not heard that revelation before?
No.
Let's see it. I've got a bar through it here.
No, you have. I'm sure, mate.
I have. I ain't showing you because I've got boobs like icing bags.
I'm trying to get done for.
But yeah, I've got my nipple pierced, but I'd never have a tattoo.
Have you actually?
I've got my nipple pierced. Yeah, I'll show you off camera in a minute.
Oh, I don't want to see that. That was not something I was expecting to get.
At least we've got a title for this podcast.
The pre-season
transfer the ring.
You can't say that.
I did.
This is the last question now, so we're getting silly, which always happens.
Well, I didn't think. I mean, it shows your great interviewing that you've actually been able to get that revelation out of me.
That's a good point. The last question from Carl Palmer, and this requires a little bit of thinking. Okay, for the last one.
Go on.
He says you can send 3 players from the squad out on loan to any team.
Yeah.
Who do you send and where are you sending them?
Do you know what I thought this was going to be then? I think we might have referenced this before. You know, when you've got to get the chicken, the grain, and the fox.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be that. You know, can you...
Can you get rid of Jota, but you've also
That's
got to
it,
bring back Engels? Yeah.
So what was the question?
So you can loan out 3 players.
Yeah.
And you can send them wherever you want. Where are you sending them? Are you going to take this down the jokey route and send someone you don't like somewhere you don't like, or are you going to have a serious answer?
I'd loan out Jack Grealish to Man United, but have a recall clause that you bring him back
straight away.
You know, before he's even kind of been able to trade the scarf or whatever. So I'd do that just for mischief value.
Yeah.
What else?
I'm trying to think of serious answers here. I can think of one straight away. Scott Hogan. Send him out on loan. I don't think you're going to get rid of him for a fee. I think he's going to have to run down his contract. So send him anywhere he wants to go.
I'd send Henry Lansbury to Halzo in town, which is our local club.
Yeah, just
so we could actually go down and watch him. Are they letting half of us people back in?
I think it's like 300.
We could go down and watch him.
Yeah.
And we could actually see the Henry Lansbury that we thought we'd see.
Oh, he'd be good at that level, wouldn't he?
Listen, I'm not in any way suggesting Henry Lansbury is at that level. Henry Lansbury, I think, is a top-end championship player, given...
Not a step 8 non-league side.
No. So I'd send him there for selfish reasons. I don't know about the third one. I'd probably loan out, like... Tyrone Mings to the Claret Blue podcast or something, because I think he'd be great value.
He would be great value.
Do you know what I mean? I know he's a mate of yours.
Well, I'll drop him a text.
And he digs me out on Twitter. I think I'd
maybe you'll have to buy a Tyrone Mings 40 shirt on purpose and say, "Oh, Tyrone, please change it." But you've got to come around and do a podcast to do it.
Yeah, but what would you have to do? Just change it to 42 for my age.
Right, we've got a bit of admin to wrap up with the episode. Everyone loves a bit of admin. First of all, Fantasy Premier League has started up. Are you a Fantasy Premier League player?
No, can't be arsed with it. It's like a chore.
Yeah, agreed. I always start it with high hopes, then after about week 3 I've given up.
Yeah, can't be bothered.
I've named my team name Gone by October, because I expect I'll be out of it by then. I got 63 points this week, which I thought was decent. And then I realised in our league, the Claret Blue League, which is full of people, by the way, there's a lot of people in there, I'm 44th. Which is all right because there's a few hundred in there, but the guy who's top got 95.
I can't be bothered with it. I think I've never really been... I know it's not a gambling thing anyway, but I've never really been into... You know, some people do it so it gives boring games
that's
extra edge.
That's what I like
don't
it for.
They? Whereas for me, I'd rather be bored during the game and not have another chore to do. It's like, I've got to do the rotor, I've got to do this, I've got to do a plan. Do I want to do that?
I've got to do my Fantasy Premier League. And also... miss the deadlines and stuff as well.
I don't like... People are saying, why are you doing this job? I don't like to enter myself into public ridicule for things I don't know much about that I'm not very good at.
But you predicted West Ham to finish 12th.
And the fantasy league table puts it in real...
See, I always just have the excuse, well, after game week 3, I'll stop playing, so that's why I'm so far down.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of people in there. If you want to join the... after we've sold it so well, if you want to join the Fantasy Premier League, the code is EBRXZN. I'll put that on screen as well for people who are watching.
But equally, if you can't be arsed, don't worry about it.
Then don't, yeah. Also, you've missed the first week, so you're already behind, so at this point, who cares? But there will be a prize, which is why I'm playing it.
Oh, now you're talking. What's the prize?
I don't know what the prize is, because I've not sorted it yet, but it'll be the end of the... It's months away, isn't it?
Okay.
I'll think about that come May. I think, to be fair, I think James is quite high up in the league, but he's a nerd, isn't he?
Well, we still owe him the bag of crunchies, don't we, for when he won the quiz.
Good point. That's a niche reference, isn't it? Second, do you want to hold that up so I don't have to get my arms in the way?
Should I drop it?
So this is our competition prize. It's a design from HR Designs. Now, he sent me this one. I've got it framed, and I'm going to put it up on the wall behind my podcast space upstairs. Podcast space.
Bedroom.
Just trying to make it sound...
You want to come and check out my podcast space?
Make it sound... My studio. Make it sound better than it is. I also got one from Art of Football of Jack Grealish and Dean Smith holding up the playoff final.
Nice.
Have you seen that? That's very nice
picture,
as well.
But I've not seen your version of it.
Yeah, I'll get it for after.
There's your prize for fantasy football. Thanks for that.
No, I'll keep that. It's very nice. This design is one that you can buy. The one that we're giving away as a competition, you can pick the shirts that you want on there. I don't know whether it's just from this selection or whether any shirt, but he's picked the 9 most iconic home and away shirts for designs. But for our competition, you can pick the 3 shirts. So it'll be a bespoke design just for you.
That.
So it's a one-of-a-kind prize that we're giving away, which is nice.
That's good, that is.
It's
What's
nice.
the fella's name? Do we know his name? It was just called HR Design.
Just HR Design, Mr. HR Design.
Thank you, Mr. HR Design.
So all you need to do to win is go over to our Twitter page, which is @ClaretBluePod, and retweet our pinned tweet. That's all you need to do.
It's easy, isn't it?
You'll be entered in.
It's easier than committing to a season full of fantasy football, isn't it?
That's a good one, but the prize isn't as good because that'll be like a shirt or something. It'll be the prize for
I mean,
Planet
don't diss the prize.
Basically, go to Twitter, find our pinned tweet, retweet it, and
Yeah.
you'll be entered. That's
And
it.
if you've won, you'll either get a knock on the door from the man if it's framed, or
Yeah.
it might just slot through your letterbox if it's not. So it's that little bit of intrigue, isn't it?
Yeah. Should we call it a day?
I think so, yeah.
It's been a good one. That's our big season preview episode / what is Villa's best 11 / Premier League predictions
Yeah. Slash I've got my
Burton
nipple
Albion.
pierced. Slash.
I can't believe that revelation. I still don't believe you. You know, when you see a car accident and you don't want to look, but you kind of do want to look.
Can you not
as well.
see through my shirt? The bar through it.
No, it's short. Oh, yeah. Oh God, let's get out of here. Yes, thanks everyone for tuning in on iTunes, Spotify, whatever else, or on YouTube. We'll be back next week to talk about.
Your
Sheffield
dad
United.
just picked the worst time to go. Yeah, thanks for listening and watching, and yeah, we'll be back soon enough, won't we?
We'll be talking about Sheffield United next week, next Tuesday morning. So yeah,
And any transfer things that happen before that, and I am going to try and nag you to get hold of the Arsenal guy.
Okay.
It's a good piece.
all right.
So, all right.
Yeah, all right. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll be back next week.
Thank you for listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please let us know. We love hearing your feedback. We'll be back soon with another episode. Until then, up the Villa!